Hi. I'm so glad you could come back in today. How was your last trip? Did you have a great time? I don't doubt it. I know it was short, but I hope it was a lot of fun. I had fun booking it for you. Again, I hope you don't mind the headset. It makes it much easier with all the calls I get. So yes, I did get your email that you're interested in a bit longer family vacation with kind of a history focus. Is that right? Great. Well, I pulled a couple of packages that we have available right now, and I can tell you about them if you're interested. Is there anything else that you want to tell me that you didn't include in the email? Anything specific you're looking for? Okay. Alright, so about a week. Okay, and I have your price range. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the prices without the flights included. So the travel will be extra, and we can discuss that based on whatever package you find most interesting, okay? Alright, great. So the first package that I have here is a trip to Athens, and this would put you in a classic room for 4 nights, and that would cost $1,284. That's without travel to get to Athens, and it includes admission for 2 to the new Acropolis Museum. You can always get an extra ticket added onto that. And that is a savings of 30%. And I can tell you a little bit more about Athens. Oh, you've been there before? Okay, great. So yeah, that would be a fun trip, and that would be a nice family vacation. Then next is a pretty amazing trip to Beijing, and you're right in the cultural heart of China, and you would stay in the central business district, and you would have it's a very large hotel, and it would be for 4 nights in a club room. The total for that is $1,571, which is a savings of 30%. And you would be in a hotel with 313 modern rooms. So although you would be in the heart of China, it probably would be more comfortable for your family. It will feel more like a Western hotel room than some of the other places you could stay in China. And the hotel is around a soaring atrium. All the rooms are around a soaring atrium. It's really a beautiful hotel. That also includes a 2.5-hour tour of the Hutong, which are the narrow ancient alleyways crisscrossing historic neighborhoods. That should be really interesting. Again, that's a 30% discount with that package. And then the third package that I pulled is a little bit more close to home. So you could actually stay for longer because you could drive there. So this is in Charleston, South Carolina. You've never been. It's really the up-and-coming new destination for vacations. It's a lot of fun. For those of us on the East Coast, it's close. It's warm, the weather is beautiful, and there's a lot to do. So this is a small hotel, but it's got a lot of activities. It's very family oriented, and this would be in a standard room, but you could actually stay for 6 nights for $1,272, or because you're probably going to drive and not have to pay for flights, you could actually stay for 8 nights for $16.96, and I know that's still within your budget. So again, that would allow for a much longer stay, and that's in a standard room. It actually has a king-size bed, huge king-size bed, and a pull-out couch, so there'd be plenty of room for all of you. That also includes tickets for 2 to Fort Sumter National Park. That includes the harbor cruise and a historian guided tour. That's a really fun activity to do while you're in Charleston. You don't want to miss it. So it's nice to have it included as part of the package. And that's also a 30% discount, booking it as a package. Do any one of those especially appeal to you? I can give you some more information. You've always wanted to go to Charleston? Well, this is a great time. I mean, I know you have time for a longer trip. And sometimes, it's nice to think outside of the box and go someplace closer to home, but get a much longer stay. Would you like me to tell you a little bit more about the hotel? It's really, this is a perfect family vacation because you could actually stay at the hotel the entire week and have things to do the whole time you're there. They have lots of activities. Here, I pulled some information about it in case you're interested. So I have a little bit of paperwork about it. They really go out of their way to try and make it a perfect vacation for you. The entire resort has wireless internet. And there's no password or key, so that's easy to get set up in case you, since you're staying longer, you may need to have to keep in touch with work a little bit. There are lots of amenities at the resort. There is a family-friendly arcade. There's a second-floor billiards room and theater room. They have a giant screen TV with a bunch of chairs set up, and actually this time of year you'd probably pretty much have the theater to yourself, so that's a lot of fun. There's bean bags around. It's a fun little, when you've had a long day touring around, you may just want to go back and crash in the theater room and watch a movie. They have a horseshoe pit, shuffleboard courts, bocce court, and a gazebo. They have, all, like I said, lots of activities. They actually have tours that you can book through the hotel, which is a lot of fun. And there's a channel on the TV that will tell you everything that's going on, and they will give you a thorough orientation when you arrive too. They have a fire pit where they do s'mores and barbecues and all kinds of different activities. There's a marketplace right at the resort, so if you need something quick, just a snack or, just some milk for your coffee or something like that, you can get it right there. They also have freshly brewed Starbucks right there at the marketplace, so it's nice. You really have everything you need right at the resort, in case you forget things. There's also wine and beer as well there. There's a juice bar over at the spa, and it's open Sunday through Friday for lunch as well. Their lunch is wonderful. Really light kind of sandwiches, paninis, but they also have wine and cheese and crackers and things like that, so it's kind of nice. You have access to all the spa facilities, whether you're getting a treatment or not, and the spa is pretty incredible. It's got a mineral pool that's outdoors, along with a hot tub that's outdoors. In each of the locker rooms, there's a steam room, a hot tub, a sauna, and a cold plunge pool, which is kind of fun, as well as showers and restrooms and lockers and all that. And as a hotel guest, you have access to all of those facilities anytime that they're open, and it's actually attached to the pool of the resort, so if you're just swimming in the pool, and I know you're bringing your child with you, so if one of you wants to be swimming with your child, the other one can kind of sneak off to the locker rooms and use the steam room or the sauna or anything like that. There is also a hot tub right next to the pool as well, so you can do that as a family as well. There's also a workout room that's between the pool and the spa. It's right in the same hallway. They're all right in the same building. And in there they have a morning yoga class, and then they also have some other classes that are on a large screen TV that they broadcast as well, like Pilates and things like that. So that's kind of fun if you like working out with other people. But there's also machines, free weights, aerobic equipment, open space to stretch. Let's see. There's also individual TVs on all the cardio machines and MP3 plugins. I can tell you more about the spa. The spa has every treatment you could possibly want while you're there. Also, when you arrive, they usually include some sort of complimentary spa package to introduce you to the spa. So some sort of complimentary treatment that they either do in the spa or in your room, and that's really special. Again, they usually, I can tell you all about it, but there's usually something over and above that they do. This hotel is really fantastic. I've stayed there a few times. They can they provide housekeeping services, and then they have, anything else that you need. All of the amenities, anything that's not included, the housekeeping can usually bring you. Checkout time is at 10 a.m. Late checkout is available if you need to stay later. Let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. That's really all the details about the hotel. Did you have any specific questions about the hotel? Okay, and I'll print out some information about Charleston. We also have some books about Charleston if you're interested. It's a great city. It just should be a ton of fun. And if you're there for history, there's so much historical there. There are at least 10 historic houses that are just at the top of the list. That's not even if you dig deeper, some of the smaller ones. There's the aquarium, there's Fort Sumter, of course, but that's part of your tour package, so that'll be a lot of fun. And they really make it kid-friendly. They know that a lot of families travel there, so they try to make all the historic aspects interesting for kids as well. So it's really a lot of fun. Is there any other information I can provide you right now? Okay, that's great. I'm really excited for you. I'm really happy to book you another package. And let me know if there are any questions, and I will print out all the paperwork for you. Okay, so good to see you again. Are you excited about our trip? Yeah, I am too. We've got a long drive ahead of us, so you really want to rest. Maybe get some sleep if you can. If you can sleep a couple hours, then we'll almost be there. When you wake up, you won't have as much waiting to do. So, do you want me to read to you a little bit about where we're going? We can talk a little bit about the things you want to do while you're there. Yeah, some of it's kind of boring, so it might help you fall asleep. Does that sound good? What do you want to do the most while you're there? I think the weather's supposed to be nice. We're driving farther south, so it's just starting to be spring here, and it's really going to be spring down there. Okay, you want me to read you a little bit of this? Alright, we're going to Charleston, South Carolina. And Charleston is the oldest and second largest city in the southeastern U.S. state of South Carolina. It was founded in 1670 as Charles Town in honor of the King Charles II of England. Charleston adopted its present name in 1783, and it moved to its present location on Oyster Point in 1680 from a location on the west bank of the Ashley River known as Amblemar Point. I think that's how you pronounce it. By 1690, Charlestown was the 5th largest city in North America, and it remained among the 10 largest cities in the United States through the 1840 census. Do you want to hear more about that? It's big. That's basically all you have to know. Known for its rich history and well-preserved architecture, restaurant, community, and mannerly people, Charleston has received a large number of accolades. They include America's Most Friendly City by Travel and Leisure in 2011, and subsequently, Southern Living magazine named Charleston the most polite and hospitable city in America. So you need to be very polite to people when you're there, because they will be polite to you. Want to read a little bit about the history? After Charles II of England was restored to the English throne, this is in 1630 to 1685, following Oliver Cromwell's protectorate, he granted the chartered province of Carolina to 8 of his loyal friends, known as the Lord Proprietors, on March 24th, 1663. It took 7 years before the group could arrange for settlement expeditions. The first of these founded Charlestown in 1670. The community was established under the leadership of William Sale on the west bank of the Ashley River, a few miles northwest of the present-day city center. It was soon designated by Anthony Ashley Cooper, one of the Lord Proprietors, to become a great port town, a destiny the city came quickly to fulfill. By 1680, the settlement had grown, having been enlarged by additional immigrants from England, Barbados, and the province of Virginia. You fell asleep there for a minute. Did you have a nice little rest? Good. I was hoping that history might be boring enough for you to fall asleep. So are you ready to talk a little bit more about where we're going? Good. Let's talk about some of the things that we can do there. You wanna? Well, we could go to the Magnolia Plantation and its gardens. It's open 365 days a year. It's a 17th century estate acquired in 1676 by the Drayton family, and it features America's oldest gardens. Oh, I would like to see that. I love gardens, which bloom year-round. Pre-Revolutionary War plantation house, biblical garden, antebellum cabin, nature train boat. Ooh. We could take a house tour, train tour, boat tour, or you don't have to, and Mom could take a house tour, because I love old houses. And we're definitely going to Fort Sumter, because we already have a tour, and Fort Sumter is where the Civil War began. We can cruise to the island fort while we enjoy breathtaking views of Charleston and her harbor. Yeah, that'll be fun, because we can see the fort and look all around, and we have the tour scheduled, but we also get a boat ride. Yeah, I think you'll really like that. There's lots of other historic houses and plantations, but I'm not sure like that. There's the North Charleston and American La France Fire Museum and Educational Center. The Fire Museum is home to the largest collection of fully restored American La France fire trucks and antique fire equipment in the country. It is a wonderful museum for the firefighter and all of us. I bet you would like that. I bet you would. We can go to the Patriot Point Naval and Maritime Museum. It's on Charleston Harbor, and you can explore 3 remarkable vessels. The Medal of Honor Museum. There are 28 historic aircraft, and you can walk the Vietnam-era Naval Support Base. That could be interesting. I think you might like that. And we're definitely going to go to the aquarium because I love aquariums and I know you do too. So we're going to go to the South Carolina Aquarium. And there's turtles, stingrays, sharks, otters, jellyfish, alligators, and more. There's daily dive shows and interactive programs. And there's a new Madagascar Journey exhibit, which has lemurs. And I love lemurs because I studied lemurs in school when I was doing anthropology. And I know that lemurs cannot move their eyes, I believe. They can't, they have to turn their whole heads, if I'm right. I'm sure I will find out if I'm right or not, but I really like lemurs, and I know you like them from that Madagascar movie. Yeah, they're the funny little ones. And more plantations and more fancy houses. Yeah, you know, Mom may need to go do some house tours on her own, because I would like to go to every single historic house in Charleston. And I know nobody else would. So, we can go to the Charleston Museum. It's America's first museum, and it showcases a variety of fascinating artifacts that tell the story of low country cultural and natural history. Whether you have an interest in early Southern furniture, historic textiles, or the Civil War, the Charleston Museum has something for everyone in your family. Well, that's good, because I would like to go to all of those, and I really want to go to the Gibbs Museum of Art. Experience Charleston's history through art. Come face to face with stories of the South Carolina Lowcountry as seen through painting, miniature, portraiture, sculpture, photographs, and more. Yeah, and we can do a tour with our cell phone. Doesn't that sound interesting? No, it doesn't sound interesting to you at all. It sounds really interesting to me. We will definitely find things that you want to do. It won't just be things that I want to do. Are you getting sleepy? Well, you can close your eyes if you want. If you want me to tell you a little bit more to help you sleep, close your eyes. And I can just keep talking about the different things around. We can go to the... Well, come on in. I'm so excited to show you around. So here we have your fantastic room set up. We have the blackout curtains, so you can sleep as late as you would like in the morning. And this is your pull-out couch. It's a very comfortable bed, so you're welcome to use that. We have sheets in the closet and blankets, extra pillows. This is your enormous this king-size bed should be more than enough room, even for the three of you if you wanted. But your child should be more than comfortable on the pull-out couch as well. We have the big screen TV, there's the remote, and the bureau. If you want to unpack your things, I know you're staying for a full week, so that's wonderful. You should have more than enough time to enjoy all of the amenities here and really have a good time in the room. This is your closet, and as you can see, there's ample space, plenty of coat hangers, and there are the sheets and blankets I mentioned. If you need any additional sheets, blankets, pillows, we have other kinds of pillows as well, if these are not comfortable for you. So please just let me know if we can get you anything. We have 24-hour service, so there's always someone available to help you. If you find at 3 in the morning you're not sleeping comfortably, we can send someone up with a new pillow for you, or a noise machine, or whatever you need. This is your bathroom. We have all the amenities that you need. We have fruit-forward amenities for you: shampoo, conditioner, soap. Yes, anything that you might need is right here. And we can bring you any sort of toiletries that you may have forgotten. If you forgot a toothbrush or toothpaste, don't hesitate to call us. You have your hair dryer up on the wall, and again another soap and lotion. If you need any additional lotion or conditioner or shampoo, just let us know. We have plenty. And I know you requested an orientation with your in-room check-in, so we have all of the paperwork next to the couch. Oh yes, you want to look outside. Well, it's a bit of a dreary day out there today, but it's supposed to be beautiful tomorrow. The sun's setting, so it's getting a bit dark, but it should be lovely tomorrow. And it is starting to be spring here, so some of the spring trees are really starting to flower, and you can't really tell from this window, but it should be very pretty. So let me shut the curtains for you so you can get ready for your evening. And if you don't mind, I'll do a little bit of turn down service for you. And I'll just pull down the blanket a little bit. We'll turn on a little bit of soft music. And of course, I'll leave the chocolate on your pillow. And if you don't mind, we'll start your orientation. I have all of your paperwork here on the table. And if it's okay, I'm just going to go through with you some of the activities that we have. I know they went through all of the amenities here in the community, so you know all about the pool and the spa and the marketplace. But any questions you may have, don't hesitate to ask. And what I would like to go over with you is some of our activities while you're here. Really, you would not need to leave the resort if you didn't want to. We have tons of activities going on. So tonight is, I know you're arriving on a Friday night, so this evening We have 6:30 p.m. family pizza and bingo. You can enjoy a slice for a chance to win. Fun for the whole family. You do need to make a reservation for that, so you should do that soon if you would like to come to the pizza. It's $5 for 2 slices of pizza and soda, and you can win lots of fun souvenirs from the resort. And that's just a fun stay-at-home activity since you may be tired from your drive today, and if you don't want to worry about getting dinner, that's a great option. At 8 p.m. we have indoor dive-in movie, and the movie tonight is Hugo. It's a movie while swimming in the indoor pool, so we put up our big screen at the end of the pool, and you can swim and watch a movie. And again, if you guys are up to it this evening, if you're still awake that late after your long drive, I wouldn't blame you if you crashed pretty early tonight, but that's at 8 p.m. And tomorrow is Saturday, and at 8:30 we have our aqua fitness. It's an energizing workout in the pool. It's complimentary, and you would just join us at the pool at 8:30. At 10:30 we have a resort tour, so you can take a walking tour of the resort and learn about our new updates and activities with the activity staff for the week. 11 a.m. to 12 we have mimosas and Bloody Marys at the bar. Enjoy a morning cocktail to start the day. There's some additional paperwork on that and on the spa itself. At 12 p.m. we have spa bingo, so you can try your luck out and win some fun spa prizes. At 2 p.m. we have the kids' kitchen. Kids learn the basics of cooking and prepare your own dish. You need to reserve that, and it's $5 each, ages 4 to 11, so it would be perfect for your family. At 3:15 we have the Scavenger Hunt, and you can see if you can get all of the questions correct as the hunt takes you around the resort and lets you get to know the resort a little bit. 6 to 9 we have kids' night out, so we take care of your kids. We have pizza, crafts, and more. It's $30 for the first child, $20 for each additional child, and you do need to make a reservation for that. At 9 a.m. to Sunday, we have the 5K, so you can join us for a 5K fun run around the resort. At 10:30, we have Make Your Own Play-Doh. That's all ages. You come learn how to make this classic childhood favorite. And again, at 11, we have mimosas and Bloody Marys for $5 each at the spa. At 11:30, we have a 9-ball pool tournament, so you can challenge other guests and see if you can be this week's champion. At 12 p.m., we have painting and planting. Enjoy spring by painting a flower pot and choose from a variety of seeds to plant. At 1 p.m., we have the Minute to Win It challenge. That's complimentary. At 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., we have Masters Viewing. So you can come and find out all about the traditional green jacket this year at Augusta. 12:30 p.m. we have adult jewelry making. So if you're interested in making any jewelry, we have earrings, bracelets, necklaces. Can I get you any water? Sure. Let me go get that for you. There you go. At 3:30 we have a blind wine tasting. You do need to reserve that, and it's $5 per person. At 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. we have s'mores at the outdoor fireside. There's also coffee with a twist for adults. That's complimentary as well. Monday we have a welcome breakfast at 9 a.m. It's just light morning treat, and it's complimentary. Prizes will be raffled off as well. At 10:30, we have a butterfly craft. Decorate a coffee filter and watch as it transforms into a butterfly. At 12 p.m., we have ceramic painting. Paint some ceramic crafts to take home with you. And at 2:30, we have saltwater taffy making. You can learn how to make your own saltwater taffy and take it home. At 3:30, we have the nature trail walk. And that's a 1.1 mile nature trail. And at 5:30 to 6:30, we have wine and cheese social. You can meet the other guests. And at 6:30, we have a magic class with a local magician who will teach you how to do a few tricks to impress your friends. On Tuesday at 8:30, we have the aqua fitness again. At 9:30, we have a yoga class in the gym. At 10 a.m., we have hat decorating. You can decorate a hat with fabric paint. It's $5 each, all ages. At 11 a.m., we have the kids' coloring time, and that's for kids, again, ages 4 to 11. At 12 p.m., we have a mini chair massage, a 10-minute chair massage that will focus on the neck, back, and shoulders. So that's a really nice little introduction to the spa, and it's for ages 16 and up, and it's complimentary. At 12:30, we have a cooking demonstration. You can learn how to prepare an authentic Egyptian meal, and that is $5 per person as well, and there's a little bit more information about it. At 3 p.m., we have lip balm making. You can make your own flavored lip balm. It's $5 each. At 5 p.m., we have an evening of music, and we have a local lounge act that comes in and performs for us, and that's complimentary, and it's in the lounge upstairs at the reception area. At 5 p.m., we have hors d'oeuvres in the lounge. We have selected appetizers, beer, wine, and soda. We also have kids' chicken fingers. You do want to make a reservation for that. It's $15 per adult, and it's $5 per child. On Wednesday, we again have 9:30 family yoga, so that's for ages 4 and up, so you're all welcome to come. At 11, we have our ping pong tournament, so you can see if you're the ping pong champion, and that's all ages. At 12 p.m., we have smoothie hour. So at the spa juice bar, you can come, and we have non-alcoholic smoothies for $4 and alcoholic smoothies for $6. At 12, we have coloring time, and you can color some fun pictures to take home with you. Ages 4 to 11, complimentary. At 1 p.m., we have Just Dance 4. So this is a Wii game, and we do this in the theater room, so on the big screen, which is a lot of fun. At 2:30, we have paper airplane making, and we test to see how far they'll fly, all ages. 3:30, we have a seasonal cocktail mixology. These are a lot of fun. You can come and learn how to make 4 different cocktails from our activity team. There's some of the cocktails that we will be working on for that mixology class, and it's $5 per person, obviously 21 and up. At 5 o'clock, we have our Iron Chef competition, and we give you a secret ingredient, and you have 1 hour to cook in your villa to create the winning dish. And you need to reserve a spot, and it's complimentary, all ages, so it's fun for everybody. And at 7 p.m., we have our ice cream social. So it's $4 each. You can create your own delicious sundae. At 8 p.m. we have another indoor dive-in movie, and it's Madagascar 3. On Thursday, we have yoga again at 9:30. At 10:30, we have cereal and cartoons. So you can come down to the activity center and have complimentary breakfast and watch cartoons in the activity center. At 11 a.m. we have mimosas and Bloody Marys at the bar, again $5 each. At 12 p.m. we have pillowcase decorating, and we have pillowcases for you to decorate with fabric markers. It's $5 each. At 1:30 we have glass painting, and you can choose a variety of glass items to paint. That's again $5 each. At 2 p.m. we have our book club, and we're reading The Last Lecture. This is an informal literary discussion on this bestseller. You can pick up your book at the front desk if you would like to try to read it before Thursday, and that's going to be upstairs in the lounge. At 3 p.m. we have the Golden Rules of Skincare event, and if you're into spa at all, here's some spa information. You don't want to miss this. They give you all the latest anti-aging breakthroughs from the estheticians, and you can enjoy a mini facial and a makeup touch-up. You do want to make a reservation for that, and it's complimentary, 18 and older. At 3:30 we have our seasonal beer tasting, and we have 5 different styles of beer. It's $5 per person. You do want to reserve a spot for that. At 6 p.m. we have fun at the fire pit. We have marshmallows for toasting and some hot cocoa. And that's at the Eagle's Nest fire pit. And it's complimentary. At 9 a.m. on Friday, we have our pancake breakfast. And we have pancake, sausage, bacon, OJ, coffee, and we have French toast sticks, pretty much anything you could want. Part of the proceeds go to the Children's Miracle Network. You do want to make a reservation for that, and it's $7 per person. At 10 a.m. we have Pilates, and that's also in your room on Channel 3. It's a broadcast that we have, and so if you're interested in that, you can either come down to the gym and work out with other people or on your own in your room. And at about that time, I know you're leaving. So I think that's probably all that you'll get to do while you're here. Let me give you a wet washcloth so you can wipe down your face. And I hope you have a wonderful time while you're here. If there's anything I can do at any time, let me know. Don't hesitate to come and ask for me at the front desk, okay? Alright, bye-bye.
Today you're getting the complimentary shiatsu massage, correct? That's great. You're going to really enjoy that. Do you know anything about shiatsu? Well, it is our wonderful foot massage. And it's not of your feet, it's actually using my feet. So what we do is we have you lay on the floor or on a table. If we have you lay on a table, we have bars up in the ceiling. So we stand on the table using the bars for support. If you're laying on the floor, we usually have a chair that we use as support either to sit on or to hold on to. And what I will do is I will have you lay down on the floor, and I will use my heels and my toes and the sides of my feet to massage your back. We are just going to do your back today. If you love it and you would like a full body massage, we can definitely do that over at the spa. Or in your room as well. We can do full body shiatsu in your room. If you prefer, that's more comfortable for you. But one of the nice things is I have very small and dexterous feet, so in many cases it may really feel like it's my hands, but it's always my feet. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the fire on for you, just to make it nice and relaxing. And then I'll have you lay down, and I'm going to start sitting in a chair behind your head, and I'm going to just start the massage of your back. Does that sound good? Do you need to use the restroom? Or would you like some tea or water? No, you're all set. You've been waiting for this? Well, that's great. I'm so excited that you're excited. All right, so just get comfortable, and then we'll start the massage, okay? Are you comfortable? Okay. I'm just going to start by placing my feet on your shoulders, using the heels of my feet to apply a bit of extra pressure on your shoulders, and then working my way down either side of your spine. Because the feet can use a lot of pressure, I'm not going to go anywhere near your actual spine. And I'm just going to use a little bit of friction with my feet to warm up the muscles on your low back and on your shoulders. How does that feel? Okay, great. Adjust your shirt. Alright, I'm going to go down your spine again with my heels. Pressure's not too much, right? Okay. That's nice. You get to just watch the fire. And I'm going to use my toes on the top of your hip bone. Just working, pushing down on your hip, working on your lower back, using my full foot to warm up that muscle. Then I'm going to work on your right hand shoulder, using my toes all around the shoulder blade and down along your spine, using a little bit of friction in areas where I feel the muscles are tight. Going down and again along the top of your hip bone and along your lower back. The side of my foot. I'm going to go all around your shoulder blade, underneath, on your rhomboids, the side of your shoulder blade, between your shoulder blade and your spine, using my toes on the flat of your shoulder blade. There are muscles there as well. And then again using the side of my foot to go all around your shoulder blade, a bit under your armpit and down your arms. And get very tight in these areas. And with my feet, I can really use a lot of pressure. But because it's a wider surface area, it doesn't hurt as much as if I just were digging my thumb into a tight muscle. So, massaging with my feet is actually a very nice way to give you a deep tissue massage, but it shouldn't hurt in any way. Does that pressure feel okay? Alright, great. Down again on your low back. Just massaging all those muscles around your waist, the top of your hip, moving back up to your shoulder blade, all around your right shoulder blade. Digging in with my curled toes on the side of my feet. There's so many surface areas on your feet that you really can give a massage with lots of different levels of pressure and wider surface areas, as well as more direct surface areas like your toes or your heels and the side of your foot can really give some intense direct pressure. Working down your spine, focusing a bit more on the areas that feel very tight. Do you sit at a desk a lot? The center of your back feels very tight. And many of us, when we sit at a desk, kind of round our back in that area. And then move to your left side, again using my heels, all around the shoulder blade, and then working my way down the spine. Was that a bit too much pressure? Okay. Yeah, I saw you jump a little bit. Oh, you're just adjusting your shirt. Okay. That is one hazard of the foot massage is you do end up moving your clothing around quite a bit, but you can stay fully clothed for these massages. Really get a deep tissue massage. Using my heel all along your shoulder blade, up at the top of your shoulders, using my toes, all 5 of my toes around your shoulder blade, curling in my big toe when I want to add some additional direct pressure, and using the side of my foot and my heel to massage under the armpit. It's all part of the rotator cuff for our shoulder, so those muscles can get very tight. Working all around the shoulder blade. And working on the top of the shoulder blade, and then back down to the top of your hip bone, working all those muscles in your low back, sliding down all around the shoulder blade. I can tell you, do a lot of work on a computer because your shoulder area is very tight as well from keeping your arms held up at a keyboard and a mouse. Moving back, both feet, either side, going down your spine, using a little bit more friction with my feet. And again, using the direct pressure with my toes, side of your spine, all around your shoulder blade, top of your shoulders, around your neck. I'm not going to work your neck because those are very delicate muscles. I want to make sure I don't use too much pressure on them since I'm using my feet. Working all along your shoulder blade on both sides. Letting the muscles relax. Can actually do a lot more work in the armpit area with my feet because it doesn't feel as invasive with a foot as it does with your hands. Most people are more comfortable with the heel of a foot in that area than with someone's hands, so I can really get some deep pressure in there. And again, it's one of the muscles that hold your arms up, so we use it a lot. Using my toes. My toes are actually double jointed, so I can really use them very dexterously, almost like hands. And pulsing back and forth with my feet, pushing your shoulders down. Tend to pull our shoulders up to our ears when we're stressed. And just working all of those spinal muscles. Allowing body to relax using some traction. So using my feet to push down on your hips and stretch out the muscles of your back and down to your arms. Again, working on both sides. That your back is even. You can just watch the beautiful fire or close your eyes and relax. Since we're doing this massage in your room, you're more than welcome to fall asleep here on the floor or just get up and go to the bed. Yep, no need to go anywhere. No need to get dressed up. Oh, you are in your pajamas? Well, that's great. That's a perfect way to get a massage. Yeah, it's quite a luxury to be able to get a massage in the evening and then go straight to bed. Yeah, a glass of wine first would be fine. You are on vacation. I'm working my way back up to your shoulders and just rocking your shoulders a bit to loosen them up, using the sides of my feet and my heels down your spine. A little bit of extra work in the middle spinal area and some friction. Just relaxing all of the muscles of your back. Are you feeling good? Are you feeling nice and relaxed? That's what I want. It's a nice start to your vacation. Come thoroughly relaxed. Have a good night's sleep. And then let the fun begin. Your family should have a great time while you're here. It's a wonderful resort. And it should be so relaxing and enjoyable. There's so many activities to do here and so much to do in the city when you want to go out. Does that feel good? Do you feel like you're ready to sleep?
Hello. You're here for the tour of Fort Sumter? That's great. I'm going to be your tour guide today. My name is Jess. Nice to meet you. And I hope you have a sweater or a jacket because it's a little bit chilly out there today, and especially on the harbor cruise. It might be a little bit chilly. So before we leave the office, I'm going to go through a bit of the history of the fort, and then I'll go through more of the specifics about what it was like to live here and work here when we're outside walking around the fort. But I'll give you a bit of the history here inside where it's warm, okay? Great. So Fort Sumter is a third system masonry sea fort located here in the beautiful Charleston Harbor. The fort is best known as the site upon which the shots initiating the American Civil War were fired at the Battle of Fort Sumter in 1812-1861. In 1966, the site was listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The fort was named after General Thomas Sumter, a Revolutionary War hero, Fort Sumter was built following the War of 1812 as one of a series of fortifications on the southern U.S. coast. Construction began in 1829, and the structure was still unfinished in 1861 when the Civil War began. 70,000 tons of granite were imported from New England to build up a sandbar in the entrance to Charleston Harbor, which the site dominates. The fort was a five-sided brick structure, 170 to 190 feet long, with walls 5 feet thick, standing 50 feet over the low tide mark. It was designed to house 650 men and 135 guns in its 3 tiers of gun emplacements, although it was never filled to near its full capacity, even during the war. On December 26, 1860, 6 days after South Carolina declared its secession, U.S. Army Major Robert Anderson abandoned the indefensible Fort Moultrie and secretly relocated Companies E and H, which were 127 men, 13 of which were musicians, of the 1st U.S. Artillery to Fort Sumter on his own initiative without orders from Washington. He thought that providing a stronger defense would delay an attack by South Carolina militia. The fort was not yet complete at the time, and fewer than half of the cannons that should have been available were in place, due to military downsizing by President James Buchanan. Over the next few months, repeated calls for evacuation of Fort Sumter from the government of South Carolina and then from Confederate Brigadier General P.G.T. Beauregard were ignored. Union attempts to resupply and reinforce the garrison were repulsed on January 9, 1861, when the first shots of the war fired by cadets from the Citadel, the military college of South Carolina, prevented the steamer Star of the West, hired to transport troops and supplies to Fort Sumter, from completing the task. After realizing that Anderson's command would run out of food by April 15, 1861, President Lincoln ordered a fleet of ships under the command of Gustav V. Fox to attempt entry into Charleston Harbor and supply Fort Sumter. The ships assigned were the steam sloop of war USS Pawnee, steam sloop of war USS Powhatan, transporting motorized launches and about 300 sailors, secretly removed from the Charleston fleet to join in the forced reinforcements of Fort Pickens in Pensacola, Florida. Armed screw steamer USS Pocahontas, review cutter USRC Harriet Lane, steamer Baltic, transporting about 200 troops, composed of companies C and D, and the 2nd U.S. Tow Troop, and supply barges directly to Fort Sumter. By April 6, 1861, the first ships began to set sail for their rendezvous off the Charleston Bar. The first to arrive was the Harriet Lane before midnight of April 11, 1861. On Thursday, April 11, 1861, Beauregard sent 3 aides, Colonel James Chestnut, Jr., Captain Stephen D. Lee, and Lieutenant A.R. Chisholm, to demand the surrender of the fort. Anderson declined, and the aides returned to report Beauregard. After Beauregard had consulted the Confederate Secretary of War Leroy Walker, he sent the aides back to the fort and authorized Chestnut to decide whether the fort should be taken by force. At about 3 a.m., when Anderson finally announced his conditions, Colonel Chestnut, after conferring with the other aides, decided that they were manifestly futile and not within the scope of the instructions verbally given to us. Quote, the aides then left the fort and proceeded to the nearby Fort Johnson. There, Chestnut ordered the fort to open fire on Fort Sumter. On Friday, April 12, 1861, at 4:30 a.m., Confederate batteries opened fire, firing for 34 straight hours on the fort. Edmund Ruffin, noted Virginia agronomist and secessionist, claimed that he fired the first shot on Fort Sumter. His story has been widely believed, but Lieutenant Harry S. Farley, commanding a battery of 2 mortars on James Island, fired the first shot actually at 4:30 a.m. No attempt was made to return the fire for more than 2 hours. The fort's supply of ammunition was not suited for the task. Also, there were no fuses for their explosive shells. They were very unprepared for this attack. Only solid balls could be used against the rebel batteries. At about 7 o'clock a.m., Captain Abner Doubleday, the fort's second in command, was given the honor of firing the first shot in defense of the fort. The shot was ineffective, in part because Major Anderson did not use the guns mounted on the highest tier, the barbette tier, where the gun detachments would be more exposed to Confederate fire. He was trying to protect his soldiers. The firing continued all day. The Union fired slowly to conserve ammunition. At night, the fire from the fort stopped, but Confederates still lobbed an occasional shell in Sumter. On Saturday, April 13th, the fort was surrendered and evacuated. During the attack, the Union colors fell. Lieutenant Norman J. Hall risked life and limb to put them back up, burning off his eyebrows permanently. A Confederate soldier bled to death, having been wounded by a misfiring cannon. 1 Union soldier died, and another was mortally wounded during the 47th shot of a 100-shot salute allowed by the Confederacy. Afterwards, the salute was shortened to 50 shots. Accounts such as the famous diary of Mary Chestnut describe Charleston residents along what is known as the Battery, sitting on balconies and drinking salutes to the start of the hostilities. The Fort Sumter flag became a popular patriotic symbol after Major Anderson returned north with it. The flag is still displayed in the Fort Museum, and we'll look at that later. A supply ship, Star of the West, took all the Union soldiers to New York City. They were welcomed and honored with a parade on Broadway. So that is the main history of the first shot. Union efforts to retake Charleston Harbor began on April 7, 1863, when Rear Admiral Samuel Francis DuPont, commander of the South Atlantic blockading squadron, led the ironclad frigate New Ironsides, which you may have heard of, the Tower ironclad Keokuk, and the monitors Weehawken, Passaic, Montauk, Patapsco, Nantucket, Catskill, and Nahant in an attack against the harbor defenses. The attack was unsuccessful. The New Ironsides never effectively engaged, and the ironclads fired only 154 rounds while receiving 2,209 from the Confederate defenders. Due to damage received in the attack, the Keokuk sank the next day, 1,400 yards off the southern tip of Morris Island. Over the next month, working at night to avoid the attention of the Federal squadron, the Confederates salvaged the Keokuk's 2 11-inch Dahlgren guns. One of the Dahlgren guns is in the fort, and we will take a look at that. The Confederates, in the meantime, were strengthening Fort Sumter. A workforce of just under 500 slaves, under the supervision of Confederate Army engineers, were filling casements with sand, protecting the gorge walls with sandbags, and building new traverse blindages and bomb-proofs. Some of Fort Sumter's artillery had been removed, but 40 pieces were still mounted. Fort Sumter's heaviest guns were mounted on the barbette, the fort's highest level, which we discussed earlier, where they had wide angles of fire and could fire down on approaching ships. The barbette was also more exposed to enemy gunfire, which we explained as well, rather than the casements in the lower levels of the fort. A special military decoration known as the Gilmore Medal was later issued to all Union service members who had performed duty at Fort Sumter under the command of Major General Quincy Adams Gilmore. Any questions? I think the details of it will become much clearer as we walk around as well. So after the devastating bombardment, both General Quincy A. Gilmore and Rear Admiral John A. Dahlgren, now commanding the South Atlantic Blockading Squadron, determined to launch a boat assault on Fort Sumter for the night of September 8th through 9th, 1863. Cooperation between the Army and Navy was poor. Dahlgren refused to place his sailors and Marines under the command of an Army officer. So 2 flotillas set out towards Fort Sumter that night. The Army flotilla was detained off Morris Island by the low tide. By the time they could proceed, the Navy assault had already been defeated, and the Army flotilla returned to shore. The Navy assault involved 400 sailors and Marines and 25 boats. The operation was a fiasco from beginning to end. Poor reconnaissance, planning, and communication all characterized the operation. Commander Thomas H. Stevens, commanding the Monitor Patapsco, was placed in charge of the assault. When Commander Stevens protested that he knew nothing of the assault's organization and made some remonstrances on this grounds and others, quote, Dahlgren replied, "There is nothing but a corporal's guard, about 6 to 10 men, in the fort, and all we have to do is go and take possession." This underestimation of the Confederate forces on Dahlgren's part may explain why he was hostile to a joint operation, wishing to reserve the credit for the victory to the Navy. Less than half of the boats landed. Most of the boats that did land landed on the right flank or right gorge angle. We'll go look at that, rather than on the gorge where there was a passable breach. The Union sailors and Marines who did land could not scale the wall. The Confederates fired upon a landing party, and as well as throwing hand grenades and masonry, the men in the boats that had not landed fired muskets and revolvers blindly at the fort, endangering the landing party more than the garrison. The landing party took shelter in shell holes in the wall of the fort. In response to a single rocket fired by the garrison, Fort Johnson and the Confederate warship Chicora opened fire upon the boats in the landing party. The boats that could withdraw withdrew, and the landing party surrendered. The Union casualties were 8 killed, 19 wounded, and 105 captured, including 15 of the wounded. The Confederates did not suffer any casualties in the assault. After the unsuccessful boat assault, the bombardment recommenced and proceeded with varying degrees of intensity, doing more damage to Fort Sumter until the end of the war. The garrison continued to suffer casualties. The Confederates continued to salvage guns and other material from the ruins and harass the Union batteries on Morris Island with sharpshooters. The Confederates mounted 4 10-inch columbides, one 8-inch columbide rifle, 2 rifled 42-pounders in the left base, bottom tier casements. The last Confederate commander, Major Thomas A. Huguenin, a graduate from the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina, never surrendered Fort Sumter, but General William T. Sherman's advance through South Carolina finally forced the Confederates to evacuate Charleston on February 17, 1865. and abandoned Fort Sumter. The federal government formally took possession of Fort Sumter on February 22, 1865, with a flag-raising ceremony. One Union soldier was killed and another Union soldier was mortally wounded during the surrender ceremony. 52 Confederate soldiers were killed there during the remainder of the war. While a number of slaves were killed while working at the fort, the exact number is unknown, unfortunately. When the Civil War ended, Fort Sumter was in ruins. The U.S. Army worked to restore it as a useful military installation. The damaged walls were re-leveled to a lower height and partially rebuilt. The third tier of gun emplacements was removed. 11 of the original first-tier gun rooms were restored with 100-pounder Parrott rifles. From 1876 to 1897, Fort Sumter was used only as an unmanned lighthouse station. The start of the Spanish-American War prompted renewed interest in its military use, and reconstruction commenced. On the facilities that had further eroded over time, a new massive concrete blockhouse-style installation was built in 1898. Inside the original walls, named Battery Huger in honor of Revolutionary War General Isaac Huger, it never saw combat. Fort Sumter National Monument encompasses 3 sites here in Charleston: the original Fort Sumter, the Fort Sumter Visitor Education Center, which we're in right now, and Fort Moultrie on Sullivan's Island. Access to Fort Sumter itself is by a 30-minute ferry ride from the Fort Sumter Visitor Education Center, or Patriot's Point, so we will take that ferry ride very soon. The Visitors Education Center here is a museum and features exhibits about the disagreements between the North and South that led to the incidents of Fort Sumter. The museum at Fort Sumter focuses on the activities at the fort, including its construction and role during the Civil War. We'll walk through the rest of the museum before we get on the harbor cruise, and then you'll have time after we return if you would like to spend more time on your own in the museum. April 12th, 2011 marked the 150th anniversary of the start of the Civil War. There was a commemoration of the events by thousands of Civil War reenactors with the encampments in the area. And the United States stamp of Fort Sumter and first day cover was issued on that day. We have those in the gift shop as well. Are there any questions that you have for me before we go into the museum and look around? Okay, well, what we will do is we'll walk around briefly around the museum. I'll give you a brief tour and point out some special items that we've just discussed, and you'll have plenty of time to look in there after as well. And then we'll get on the harbor cruise that's in about, let's see what time it is. It's in about 15 minutes. We'll get on the harbor cruise, go over to the fort. You can look all around the fort, and I'll give you a tour going through some of the key points of the fort. You are welcome to then stay in the fort if you want to spend some of your own time there. And then the harbor cruise runs every half hour, so you can come back whenever you're ready and spend some more time in the museum. Okay? Alright, well, I know that was a lot of information, and I'd just like to give that background before we start, but it'll all become clearer as you start to really look at the items and look at the fort in the museum and over at the fort itself. Okay, you've got your jackets for the... Do you need to get anything out of the car? Okay, then we're going to go right into the museum, and the museum will take us right out to the ferry. Alright? Okay, I'll see you over in the museum. Bye. So, did you have a good time? What was your favorite thing that we did? Oh yeah, I liked that too. I had a great time with you. It's not over yet, but we have a long drive. So do you want me to read to you? Maybe it'll help you fall asleep. Okay. Do you want me to read you from your poo book? Okay. let's read. I like this book. It's a nice hardcover book. Yeah, and the pictures in it are really pretty and colored. Alright, so we'll read In which Pooh and Piglet go hunting and nearly catch a woozle. The piglet lived in a very grand house in the middle of a beech tree, and the beech tree was in the middle of the forest, and the piglet lived in the middle of the house. Next to his house was a piece of broken board which had Trespassers W on it. When Christopher Robin asked the piglet what it meant, he said it was his grandfather's name and had been in the family for a long time. Christopher Robin said you couldn't be called Trespassers W, and Piglet said yes, you could, because his grandfather was, and it was short for Trespassers Will, which was short for Trespassers William. And his grandfather had had two names in case he lost one, Trespassers, after an uncle, and William, after Trespassers. I've got two names, said Christopher Robin, carelessly. Well, there you are, that proves it, said Piglet. One fine winter's day, when Piglet was brushing away the snow in front of his house, he happened to look up, and there was Winnie the Pooh. Pooh was walking round and round in a circle, thinking of something else, and when Piglet called to him, he just went on walking. "Hello," said Piglet, "what are you doing?" "Hunting," said Pooh. "Hunting what?" "Tracking something," said Winnie the Pooh very mysteriously. "Tracking what?" said Piglet, coming closer. "That's just what I ask myself. I ask myself what? What do you think you'll answer?" "I shall have to wait until I catch up with it, and," said Winnie the Pooh. "Now, look there." He pointed to the ground in front of him. "What do you see there?" "Tracks," said Piglet. "Paw marks." He gave a little squeak of excitement. "Oh, Pooh, do you think it's a woozle?" "It may be," said Pooh. "Sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. You never can tell with paw marks." With these few words he went on tracking, and Piglet, after watching him for a minute or two, ran after him. Winnie the Pooh had come to a sudden stop and was bending over the tracks in a puzzled sort of way. "What's the matter?" asked Piglet. "It's a very funny thing," said Bear, "but there seems to be two animals now. This whatever it was has been joined by another whatever it is, and the two of them are now proceeding in company. Would you mind coming with me, Piglet, in case they turn out to be hostile animals?" Piglet scratched his ear in a nice sort of way, and said that he had nothing to do until Friday, and would be delighted to come in case it really was a woozle. "You mean in case it really is two woozles," said Winnie the Pooh, and Piglet said that anyhow he had nothing to do until Friday, so off they went together. There was a small spiny of larch trees just here, and it seemed as if the two woozles, if that's what they were, had been going round this spiny. So round this spiny went Pooh and Piglet after them, Piglet passing the time by telling Pooh what his grandfather, Trespassers W, had done to remove stiffness after tracking, and how his grandfather, Trespassers W, had suffered in his later years from shortness of breath and other matters of interest. And Pooh, wondering what a grandfather was like, and if perhaps this was two grandfathers they were after now, and if so, whether he would be allowed to take one home and keep it, and what Christopher Robin would say. And still the tracks went on in front of them. Suddenly Winnie the Pooh stopped and pointed excitedly in front of him. "Look!" "What?" said Piglet with a jump. And then, to show that he hadn't been frightened, he jumped up and down once or twice in an exercising sort of way. "The tracks," said Pooh. "A third animal has joined the other two." "Pooh!" cried Piglet. "Do you think it's another woozle?" "No," said Pooh, "because it makes different marks. It's either two woozles and one as it might be whizzle, or two as it might be whizzles and one if so it is woozle. Let us continue to follow them. So they went on, feeling just a little anxious now, in case the three animals in front of them were of hostile intent, and Piglet wished very much that his grandfather T.W. were there instead of elsewhere, and Pooh thought how nice it would be if they met Christopher Robin suddenly, but quite accidentally, and only because he liked Christopher Robin so much. And then, all of a sudden, Winnie the Pooh stopped again and licked the tip of his nose, in a cooling manner, for he was feeling more hot and anxious than ever in his life before. There were 4 animals in front of them. "Do you see, Piglet? Look at their tracks. 3, as it were, woozles, and 1, as it was, whizzle. Another woozle has joined them." And so it seemed to be. There were the tracks, crossing over each other here, getting muddled up with each other there, but quite plainly, every now and then, the tracks of 4 sets of paws. "I think," said Piglet, when he had licked the tip of his nose too, and found that it brought very little comfort, "I think that I have just remembered something. I have just remembered something that I forgot to do yesterday and shan't be able to do tomorrow, so I suppose I really ought to go back and do it now." "We'll do it this afternoon, and I'll come with you," said Pooh. "It isn't the sort of thing you can do in the afternoon," said Piglet quickly. "It's a very particular morning thing that has to be done in the morning, and if possible between the hours of, what would you say the time was?" "About 12, said Winnie the Pooh, looking at the sun. "Between, as I was saying, the hours of 12 and 12:05. So really, dear old Pooh, if you'll excuse me, what's that?" Pooh looked up at the sky, and then as he heard the whistle again, he looked up into the branches of a big oak tree, and then he saw a friend of his. "It's Christopher Robin," he said. "Ah, then you'll be all right," said Piglet. "You'll be quite safe with him. Goodbye." And he trotted off home as quickly as he could, very glad to be out of all danger again. Christopher Robin came slowly down his tree. "Silly old bear," he said, "what were you doing? First you went round the spinney twice by yourself, and then Piglet ran after you, and you went round again together, and then you were just going round a 4th time." "Wait a moment," said Winnie the Pooh, holding up his paw. He sat down and thought, in the most thoughtful way he could think. Then he fitted his paw into one of the tracks, and then he scratched his nose twice and stood up. "Yes," said Winnie the Pooh. "I see now," said Winnie the Pooh. "I have been foolish and deluded," he said, "and I am a bear of no brain at all." "You're the best bear in all the world," said Christopher Robin soothingly. "Am I?" said Pooh hopefully, and then he brightened up suddenly. "Anyhow," he said, "it's nearly luncheon time." So he went home for it. Are you getting sleepy? Do you want me to start another one? We could read Eeyore loses a tail and Pooh finds one. We could read In which Piglet meets a heffalump, in which Eeyore has a birthday and gets 2 presents, in which Kanga and Baby Roo come to the forest and Piglet has a bath. No, none of those? What about in which Christopher Robin leads an expedition to the North Pole, in which Piglet is entirely surrounded by water, in which Christopher Robin gives Pooh a party and we say goodbye? None of those? This also has a house at Pooh Corner. We haven't read any of those. In which a house is built at Pooh Corner for Eeyore, in which Tigger comes to the forest and has breakfast, in which a search is organized and Piglet nearly meets the heffalump again, in which it is shown that Tiggers don't climb trees, in which Rabbit has a busy day and we learn what Christopher Robin does in the mornings, in which Pooh invents a new game and Eeyore joins in which Tigger is unbounced, in which Piglet does a very grand thing, in which Eeyore finds the woolery and Owl moves into it, in which Christopher Robin and Pooh come to the enchanted place and we leave them there? No.